Okay. Hello everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome to another book session review. I feel like I do this every year, but I didn't do a solo review, but I did like a book ranking, which I'm very surprised that a lot of you all really liked that video. So today I'm gonna be doing just a solo book review. We're gonna be reviewing this is called Kill the Beast, A Tale of Everyone's Favorite Guy, aka Gaston. So this is the 11th book of the Serena Valentino Disney Villians cinematic book series, which, you know, so let's talk about it. So this is the 11th entry of the book, and this is honestly the third Disney male like that gets their own origin story. The first one was Captain Hook, Hades, and then the third one is Gaston. His third time is the charm. Spoiler alert. I gotta say, this is honestly probably one of my favorite male origin stories. I gotta say, if I do a ranking, it gotta be Gaston, Captain Hook, and Hades for the number, you know, 3. This is actually, again, this is one of the best out of the 3. And this book is gonna be Gaston's point of view from like, because there's also like the Beast story, but like, so this is like his point of view, not really the Beast, but there's gonna be some elements from this. We'll go into that. So yeah, this will be a non-spoiler review, so let's get right into it. So let's start with the amazing book cover. It's amazing until you look at here, like, oh, like this is a hardcover. I see this every year. But I wish that they would put like another side of the villain over here instead of like plain black, because like, it would be so cool, like, you know, for a book cover wise. But if you open it, which is the beauty part, it has Gaston's angry face. So I think it's saying how much people view men in society with being an attractive man. But yeah, and it's just another plain black over there. So that's kind of, you know, freaky. And yeah, it's very like black over here. It's similar, it's the same as all recent Valentino book. It just has chapters, and sometimes I love like the font writing in here. Sometimes it feels like you're reading like an old spell book slash like fairy tale book, which I really like with this aesthetic. And again, this is a beautiful like book cover to have in your own like book collection. I don't know, it's such an iconic, it's like a villain portrait, and you look at the back, yeah, it's very like beauty to put them all together. It's like a colorful Disney villain book. Okay, let's move on to the good. What do I like about this book? I gotta start. I was so shook. This is one of like the biggest book ever. I think Mother Goddell's the biggest out of like the, but this one has like 400 pages. So I'm like, ooh, we're reading goody, because I was so shook when I saw this and I was like, oh my god, it's actually like huge. It's not like 200 or the normal average 300. It's like 400. It's like a huge ass book. So I do love learning the origin story of Gaston, like actual Gaston. And you learn about like why he loves hunting and like why is he obsessed with the quote kill the beast. So you've learned about that, and I like the mythology about like the beast and stuff. And again, this is a tragic tale if you don't know what happened to his fate in the original movie, like Beauty and the Beast. So it's a very tragic tale, and it's very interesting. I think the biggest highlight of this book, I call this more like a tragic story with the friends, because, you know, if you know the story, then you know. So it's very interesting to see like the friendship between Gaston and the Beast. Kind of like Beast is like the secondary character over here, kind of like a co-lead in this story. So they're always like together. So in the first half of the book, it's very interesting to learn about their origin story, like how they were friends back in the day and how everything all changed. And the way Serena Valentino describes Gaston's like parents' death, like why they're no longer there, is very graphic. Like, wow, I can't believe I'm reading that description in a Disney book. Well, this is not a teen, this is more like preteen or teenage, the young adult book, but like, whoa, that's very, very gory. And I like how once you actually like read the entire story of Gaston, once you read like the final ending of the book, it really like changes your perspective of how Gaston, like, you know, sees the beast towards the end. So, you know, it really changes your perspective, which I really like about these books, like how once you watch the movies, then your point of view has changed of how you see Gaston, but it doesn't like affect his action in the movie, but it's just a different, it's cool to hear like his different perspective in the book, if you know what I mean. So again, I really love like all the foreshadowing throughout the entire book of his fate towards the end of the book. It's very like great. It's like, oh, it's a little bit like foreshadowing what's gonna happen to him later down the line. So I'm looking at my notes. Again, I really love, that's the thing I love about this universe, is I love the little callbacks from the other like Disney villains origin story, and we'll get into which one I think might be the next. They even like name called this villain. So yeah, so I like the little like origin story. Again, I really like how long this book is, as I said in the beginning of this segment. It's been a while since we have like like a very long book, you know? So let's move on to the bad. What did I not care for? I'm very surprised that Belle isn't really much in this book. She's in the book, but she's not like there a lot. She's like there towards the end. We'll get into that's my problem. Like she's in the book, but she's not like just lack of values. Like, oh, she's just there. Like they mention her, but she's there. And I feel like the whole curse thingy of like Beauty and the Beast, the one that started the movie, is really a little bit confusing, especially with how that affects like Beast and Gaston's like friendship, like how that all changes everything. So I was a little bit very confused. I was like, what the hell is happening? And once they do the whole curse thing, I'm like, whoa, what is happening? It feels like I'm reading like a whole new story, if you know what I mean. And I feel like the ending, as I said, the ending was a little bit of a rush because like towards like the last part of the book, it turns into like a quick good read summary of like Beauty and the Beast, because that's, you know, it all goes back to the movie. And it feels kind of weird reading like the, for example, like the Belle opening song where like, oh, it's supposed to be singing but they're just talking. Like it's very weird. But I understand how hard is it to write those like musical sequence, but like that's, but you know like what scene it is once you read it. So it's like literally line by line from the movie. So again, I didn't really like the sudden change as to why he fall in love with Belle in the first place. Like it's just so suddenly and like just out of nowhere. Like that was just, you know, like super random and stuff. So that was strange. Oh yeah, but LeFou, he's not, to be honest, he's not really much in this movie, not in this movie, not really much in this book. Again, he just, it's like something with Belle, he just came out of like nowhere. He just happens to be, you know, friends with, and I was waiting for him to like pop up in the books. They're like supposed to be best, but he just came out of nowhere, like, you know. So that was like very disappointing, to be honest. And I feel like, so if you're wondering about the author involvement with this book, it's a little bit confusing as to why they're there. I mean, you kind of know once you read like the Beast book, the Beast like Prince Adam's like version of the book, but like it's a little bit confusing as to like why they're there and like where we are in the timeline of this book. So there's that. So the main question is, do you really need to read the Beast book before reading Gaston? Actually, no, you don't. You don't have to read like the base storyline. Like, I feel like if you read, you can read either or. Like, if once you read this book, if you're very interested to see like Beast's point of view, then like you can definitely go for it, read for it. You know, go for it. But as I say, just keep in mind, my only problem with the Beast book is that I feel like Beast is more like the side character of his own story, not like the main, because the author kind of takes over like his own story versus like the Gaston. He is like the main focus of the book. So that's early like of the book Villains series, so that's like early writing of Serena, but she did a little bit better as the book goes on. Just keep in mind if you're planning to read like the Beast story after you read this book, or either or. Yeah, I think that this book is definitely better than like the Beast's like origin story. That's my biggest like issue with that. Okay, let's move on. So who do I think is the next villain of the story? They kind of name called her. I think, like, I might be wrong because they did last time. I think the next, it's finally gonna be the Queen of Hearts. I know we've been asking for the Queen of Hearts origin story for like so long. My only concern is that I don't know how that's gonna affect the whole world, because one now it's like a whole new world. They kind of did with Neverland, but we'll see how that goes. But like they're hinting that maybe the Queen of Hearts might be the next like book 12 like next year. Let me know what you think. Which villain origin story would you like Serena to explore? So there's that. So it's like one little explore, but it's like a theory. So overall, okay, to conclude this review, this short review, I feel like this is such a great addition to the Disney villain origin story, like the Disney book series, which I'm very surprised. When I first got it, I wasn't really excited about it. Once I realized, like, wow, this is like really good. So it's a very like great addition to the other story. I'm happy to say this. You don't need to read like the other Disney villains origin story, to be honest with you, to connect all of it. You can honestly pick this up and go from it. Like you can read this like on its own. Honestly, I mean, you can be a little bit confused what the hell happened with the Odd Sisters, but then like you don't need to read the other villain origin stories. You can just pick up this one and go from there. Again, I can't wait to see how this all connects. What's the big picture of like this Disney villain origin story? Like what is the end game for this series? And I wonder how long this series would go. I'm wondering if Serena will explore like the sidekicks, but like something with the Beast, where like some of the Disney movies where like it's actually like they're viewed as a good hero, like similar to the Beast, but they're actually like debatable, like they're like the actual villains. Same thing with King Triton with the Ursula story. But so there's that. So yeah, that's my quick review of Kill the Beast by Serena Valentino. Let me know comments below, what do you think of this book? Have you picked it up yourself? And which Disney villain origin story would you like Serena to explore? And I'll see you all on the next book session. Okay, bye. Kill the Beast. Oh my god. Oh, that was a curse. So the last place, unfortunately, has to be the new one. Boop. This is the only book that is basically... Oh, wait, that's it? Okay.